Hello everyone and welcome back to Age Nagash, which is a channel dedicated to Age Sigmar. Now, in this video, this is going to be the final army video for the Wanderers in the Age Sigmar army archive until their army gets an update. So, in this video, it's of course going to be looking at their heroes and leaders. So, firstly, we're going to start with the Wayfinder. So, he's going to cost you 80 points, so he's a cheap hero, you know, starting to note. A lot of the Wanderer heroes are cheap. The most expensive one is 120 points, what we'll get to in the end. They're all pretty cheap heroes. I mean, the Wayfinder, so 80 points, you know, at that sort of, you know, point cost, when you look at a hero, you're almost asking yourself, not what are you getting for the points, you're asking for yourself, what are you not getting for the points for that sort of cheap. So going into his war scroll, so the Wayfinder. So his description is a Wayfinder is a single model armed with a double-handed starlight great blade that can bisect a warrior with a single swing. Wayfinders also go to war with magical longbows to shoot down any who try to escape. So going into his stats, so his wheel first, so he's got a 6-inch movement, he's got a 4+ save, he's got bravery 8 and 5 wounds. That's a pretty good start, you know. We're talking about an 80-point hero here. So movement of 6, that's good. 4+ save, that is definitely good. Bravery 8, more than I would have expected. I mean, I've seen this guy's war scroll before, so I knew it was that. But, you know, more than I would expect from an 80-point hero, and 5 wounds. Yeah, pretty good. A lot of, like, heroes for, like, 80 points are, like, 4 wounds. So, yeah, like this guy already. So, going into his missile weapons, he's got a 20-inch range for his longbow, and that's his only missile weapon. It's got 3 attacks, 3 to hit, 4 to wound, no rend and 1 damage. Yeah, good range, good to hit characteristic, not bad wound characteristic, but the no rend and 1 damage is a bit like, oh, I'm a bit. Yeah, if it was just -1 rend, that would have been lovely. You know, just made it a bit more sniper. But this guy is actually not bad in combat either, and this is sort of mainly his area of specialties. So going into his melee weapons, he's got the Starlight Great Blade. So 1-inch range with 3 attacks, 3 to hit, 3 to wound, -1 rend, D3 damage. That's a good attack. D3 damage, of course, swingy, but you know that works in your favour, and we know it averages out alright. So yeah, not bad melee weapon there. Going into his ability, so we've got the Heartseeker Arrow. So after setup is complete, roll a dice if the enemy general is visible to at least 1 Wayfinder from your army. On a 5 or more, that general suffers a mortal wound. Okay, so I'm not a huge fan of this, but I mean it's an extra ability, so you know, like you're getting it, aren't you? So there's no reason why you wouldn't do it. However, it's just like on a 5 or more, that enemy general suffers 1 mortal wound, and a lot of the time now in Age of Sigmar, a lot of like models have the, you know, and heroes especially have the ability to regenerate wounds, particularly if you're fighting against you know, death essentially, and you know, especially how Fleshly Courts from the Rise, a lot of their heroes can regenerate wounds, so this is going to be pointless sort of against that. And it's also on a 5 more. I would have liked it if it was a 4 more. That would be really nice, you know, because it'd be like, oh, that's, you know, that's good. 50% chance of doing like 1 mortal wound to the enemy general if I can see them, and if the enemy general does not ignore that mortal wound, and if the enemy general cannot heal that mortal wound straight away back, then it might have done something. But yeah, it's like I say, it's free, so that's good. But you know, I wouldn't take this guy just for that ability, shall we say. And then going into his command abilities, the boldest of the bold. So if a Wayfinder uses this ability, and then until your next hero phase, wanderers from your army that are within 18 inches of him in the battleship phase may use his bravery instead of their own. In addition, if you roll a 1 for any of these units' battleship tests, that unit can immediately pile in and attack as if it were the combat phase. Okay, so do I think this is the best command ability? No. Do I think it's the worst command ability? No. It's okay. I mean, again, it's, you know, it's increasing your chances for your wanderers not to fail their battleship test, which is good. Obviously, it ups the bravery. So yeah, that is good, but I just feel like there's better command abilities out there for the Wanderers. I feel like that you've got, and being able to, you know, like if you roll 1 for your battleship test, which is, you know, 1 in 6 chance of doing, so it might happen quite a bit. You know, you never know if you're lucky. You get to pile an attack in the combat phase. That is good. You know, I say in the combat phase, I mean as if it was the combat phase. However, that's obviously good, you know, if you've got, you know, even just like Eternal Guard, you know, great. If you've got, you know, like a Wildwood of Rangers, fantastic. If you know, got Wild Riders, yeah, good. But everything else is a bit, oh, Sister of the Fawns are good. But everything else is a bit like, you know, oh, great, your archer unit can pile an attack when it's hitting on like 5s and 5s or whatever. You know, it's not that good. But if you're going for a heavy melee Wanderer's army, which would be quite unique, but if you're going for that, this guy is going to be the guy you want for his command ability. Okay, and then going on to his keywords, so he's got Order, Aelf, Wanderer, and Hero, and Waste Rider. I don't think this guy, you know, he's not amazing, is he? However, he's costing you 80 points, so you're not, you know, spending too many points for this guy if you want to have him in your army. Because to be honest, I mean, I know the model's quite old and it's fine construction, but he's a pretty cool model and it's got like a little imp at the bottom of it, which is lovely. So yes, so that is the Waste Rider. Right, okay, and then going on to the next one, this is going to be the Wayfinder. Do not get that confused with the Waste Rider, because the Wayfinder is not like the Waste Rider, because the Waste Rider is a Waste Rider and a Wayfinder is a Wayfinder. There's nothing like them, apart from the first bit of their name being Way. But anyway, we're moving on from the Waste Rider and going on to the Wayfinder. So, with the Wayfinder, right, okay, so he's going to cost you 100 points for the model, so 20 points more than the Waste Rider. So the Wayfinder, going into his stats, what are you getting? What are you getting extra, basically, for that extra 20 points? So, he's got, for his description, a Wayfinder is a single model. These extraordinary archers each carry a lethal hail of doom arrows, as well as a small kindred blade for defense in melee, and they are accompanied by a hunting falcon, which attacks their enemies with its beak. Okay, so going to his stats, it's got 6-inch movement, 4+ save, bravery 8 and 5 wounds, exactly what we saw before. Yep, that's good. Even for a 100-point hero, that's still good stats. Going on to his weapons, so he's got 2 missile weapons and he's got 1 melee weapon. So going into his missile weapon first, we've got the Hunting Falcon Beak. So be prepared for this one. So it's got an 18-inch range, it's got 1 attack, a 4 to hit, 4 to wound, no render, 1 damage. Pretty deadly if you ask me. Going to the next one, we've got the Great Bow. So 20-inch range, 3 attacks, 3 to hit, 3 to wound, -1 rend, 1 damage. And this is basically what I was saying I would have liked from the Waste Rider. Just having that -1 rend just makes this attack just that much better. So yeah, I quite like that shooting attack. And then going into the melee weapons, we've got the Kindred Blade. So 1-inch range, 3 attacks, 3 to hit, 4 to wound, no rend, and 1 damage. So, you know, that's an alright melee weapon. This is not really what this guy is designed for. And then going into the abilities, it's a Hail of Doom Arrows. So, once per battle, a Wayfinder may fire its Hail of Doom Arrows during your shooting phase. When he does so, he makes 3d6 attacks with his Great Bow in that phase instead of 3. Okay, so this is pretty big. So you go from making basically at least 3 attacks to the potential of making 18 attacks. Not going to happen. I believe, what is it, the average on 3 dice is at 11, I think. So, you know, that's quite a few attacks with a rend on it and a 3 to hit and 3 to wound characteristic. I think that's definitely, you know, that's a good attack there. It's once per game, but not bad. Going into the command ability, so we've got the Bravest of the Brave. So if a Wayfinder uses this ability, then until your next hero phase, wanderers from your army that are within 18 inches of him in the battle phase may use his bravery instead of their own. In addition, if you roll a 1 for any of these units' battleshock tests, that unit can immediately shoot as if it were the shooting phase. Okay, so I immediately like this guy better than the last one. I would say yes, his, you know, melee weapon is not nearly as good. His shooting attacks are better. He gets a once per game, you know, going a bit like a minigun sort of thing. And also his command ability is good. It means the whole, you know, like it's good obviously getting that buff to your bravery. But of course, the reason why I like this is your chance to be able to shoot again in the battleshock phase as if it was the shooting phase for those units that roll 1 for their battleshock. And obviously that might never happen in a game because it's 1 on a 6 like I talked about, you know, a minute ago. But, you know, you might get lucky. It might happen a few times. It might happen 1 time. It might happen no times. It's completely up to luck, obviously, isn't it? Because you need to roll those 1s to get it. However, if you get it off and you've got like a big unit of like Sisters of the Watch or like just a big unit of Glade Guard, that's could make a huge difference for sure. And within 18 inches. It's a big range, so yes, I do like that command ability. He's got keywords, so Order, Aelf, Wanderer, Hero, and Wayfinder. Okay, so yeah, I think he is pretty good and definitely worth a look. Right, and then moving on to the next one, we have got the Spellweaver, and this is the only wizard for your Wanderers without going into allies. And the Spellweaver is going to cost you 100 points, so the same as the Wayfinder. So now the Wayfinder's got something, you know, it's up against something, it's got a bit of competition here. So let's see what the Spellweaver does. So, the description: a Spellweaver is a single model. Some Spellweavers carry a heartwood staff, while others strike with blows of mystic power. Right, then going into the stats, so start on the wheel. So 6-inch movement, 6+ save, bravery 7, and 5 wounds. Obviously, worse wheel stats than we saw with the Wayfinder, and that's because, you know, she's a wizard, isn't she? So 6+ save, yeah, you can expect it. Movement 6, still good. And, you know, bravery 7, yeah, a bit less, but, you know, who cares? It won't really make too much difference unless you're going against those enemy units that, you know, target you depending on your bravery and all those sorts of things like terrorists and two Banshees and flares and stuff. But anyway, going into the weapons, so you've got a choice of one of these, not both, and it really is going to depend on which model you buy for the Spellweaver or how you convert one up. So the first one is blows of mystic power, so 1-inch range, 3 attacks, force hit, freeze wound, no render, 1 damage. And then the next one, heartwood staff, so 2-inch range, 1 attack, force hit, freeze the wound, -1 rend, and D3 damage. So out of the two there, I massively just prefer the heartwood staff. It's just your standard, was it wizard attack? It's the same as most wizards. Yeah, it's swingy. You might fail to hit, and then there's nothing obviously, but you know you don't want it to get into combat anyway. But it's got a -1 rend on it, and the D3 damage, yeah, it might not be as reliable. It might be the same on the average. It's like 3 attacks. However, I just find if you get the attack through to the enemy and the enemy fails to save, it's just so much more exciting rather than D3 to see how much damage you do, rather than going like, oh, that's a straight, you know, like 2 attacks, so that means 1 or 2 damage. It's just, you know, that risk-reward factor I like. Okay, and then going into the ability, so we've got Ancient Blessings. So once per battle, this model can call upon these blessings when attempting to combine a spell. When it does so, that attempt is automatically successful. Okay, so this is huge, especially on Magic. It's a lot bigger now in Age of Sigmar, especially how you're going to be fighting against, you know, a lot of Legions and Nagash armies. You fight against Leech armies, all those sorts of things as well. And when, you know, Nagash casts a spell on like a fucking 16 because he's next to like arcane terrain and he's getting +3 to cast anyway, and it's just like, well, he's just cast a really powerful spell on a 16. There's nothing you can do about it. This, that, and the other's going to happen, and you know you're fucked. Especially if it's like you know, one of the spells from the Legions and Nagash Battle Tome, and he casts it on a 9 or more, and it's just like, you know, double the effect basically. You can just go, no, this little you know hero around here somewhere, you probably can't even see her from how high you are up there, Nagash, but this little one down here is just going to stop that magic. This has only happened to me once before with my Nagash. I was extremely annoyed. I never talked to the person with the Wanderer's Army again, and good riddance, because how dare that little Spellweaver ruin my plans. Absolute little bastard. Right, okay, and then going into the magic, so a Spellweaver is a wizard. A Spellweaver can attempt to cast 1 spell in each of your hero phases, and attempt to unbind 1 spell in each enemy hero phase. A Spellweaver knows the Arcane Bolt, Mystic Shield, and Blessing of Life spells. So, obviously we know what Arcane Bolt and Mystic Shield does. Now let's go on to Blessing of Life. So the Spellweaver speaks in the tongue of ancient days, restoring life to the fallen. Blessing of Life has a casting value of 5. Successfully cast select a Wanderer's unit within 16 inches. You can turn a D3 slain model to that unit. Okay, so firstly, if you do take, you know, Sisters of the Fawn in your army, that, you know, like, and to be fair, I said this is your only wizard in your army. That's a lie. This is your only wizard in your army that is a hero and a leader. Of course, the Sisters of the Fawn are also a wizard as well, and always important to remember that, as they have got an amazing spell. Anyway, going back to the Blessing of Life spell for the Spellweaver. if you take Sisters of Thorn in your army, or Wild Riders, they've got 2 wounds apiece. So now bringing back D3 of those models is actually a huge, difference compared to bringing back like D3 Glade Guard or something. Bringing back D3 2 wound models is big, especially for Sisters of Thorn that are really expensive models. I mean, seriously, 5 models for 220 points is really expensive. So let's say you've got a unit of 10 and 3 died, and they survive battle shock and all that sort of thing, and it's your turn. Then you get really lucky with the spell, and then you get your D3 and you get a 5 and a 6, and you just brought like 6 wounds back to that unit. That's really, really good, That's a really nice spell to have. And then going on to the keywords, we've got Order, Aelf, Wanderer, Hero, Wizard, and Spellweaver. And I would say this one is worth having in your army. I'd say that when I played with my Wanderers anyway, I would always have one of these in my army, just because why not? You haven't got you can't be too easily distracted with the Wanderers going getting carried away with, oh, I want this, that, and they have, and think, oh, I don't have enough points to put it all in. I mean, it can happen, but not to the extent where you can't afford to put in just like a 100-point wizard. So yeah, she is pretty good. Okay, and then going on to our next one, which is going to be the Nomad Prince. So I do like this guy. I think he is the best guy to get into combat. For the Wanderers. Like I say, he's not a sledgehammer in any way, shape or form, but he can handle his own into combat. Okay, and then looking at his war scroll. So, description: a Nomad Prince is a single model. He is armed with a starlight spear and a deep wood shield. Each is accompanied by a trusted hawk who can peck out the eyes of his foes with its beak. Okay, so be warned with that. Okay, so it's got for his wheel stats, a 6-inch movement, a 4+ save, Bravery 8 and 5 wounds, the same as we saw for the Wayfinder and the Waystrider. And then going into his missile weapon, so he has got a missile weapon. This is obviously the Hunting Hawk's beak. It's got 20-inch range, 1 attack, force hit, force wound, no rend, and 1 damage. But there's a reason why this attack is good, and we'll get to that in the abilities. But 20-inch range for a shooting attack, yeah, only 1 attack and stuff, but still 20-inch range is good. And then going into his melee weapon, so he has got the Starlight Spear. So he has got a 2-inch range, 4 attacks, freeze hit, freeze wound, -1 rend, and 2 damage. Okay, this is good. This is a good attack, especially for the Wanderers in combat. Yes, so that makes this guy the best sort of like I say, he's not a sledgehammer in any way, shape, or form by himself, but he can definitely handle his own, and he can go toe to toe with quite a few other heroes of his type. And this guy is might have forgotten to mention it, apologies. This guy is going to cost you 80 points. So, yeah, he is really, really, really cheap. It's the same points as the Waystrider. So, honestly, this guy is... He's, like I said, if you got 80-point heroes, you're looking at what they don't have rather than what they do have. And this guy's already got a lot. So, going into his abilities, he's got the Eye Thief. So, this is the Hunted Hawk beak attack I told you to keep an eye out for. So this says, if an enemy model suffers any wounds from a Hunted Hawk's beak and is not slain, the hawk has pecked out one of its eyes. For the rest of the battle, your opponent must subtract 1 from any hit rolls made for the affected model. Okay, so this is good, because yeah, you might just target like a unit of 1 wound models and it won't mean anything, or a unit of 2 wound models and one of them's -1 to hit or something, and guarantee he's the next one to die, obviously. And yeah, won't mean much, but you might put it on a unit of Morghast, and suddenly making them -1 to hit does make a difference. Well, for 1 model anyway. I've had this little annoying attack go through to me on my Nagash, and then my Nagash is -1 to hit for the rest of the game, and it was turn 2 that happened or something, because I was like, Nagash, this was back in the day when Nagash go for like a 2-up save, reroll and 1. Somehow this guy managed to put his Hunting Hawk beak attack through on Nagash, and I was like, alright then, I'm saving this on a 2-up reroll and 1, cocky as anything, being an arrogant bastard. I was like, okay, I'm going to roll my dice. Oh, I rolled a 1. Alright, I just need to roll a 2 or more. Okay, I rolled a 1 again. Alright, I just need to get a death save on a 6. Fuck, I failed it. Shit, Nagash is -1 for the rest of the game. -1 to hit, which annoyed me so much. So yes, this guy is fantastic just to piss off people, and not like in a way that like Wanderers are like overpowered, so it's like pissed off person being like, oh, what's the point? It's like in this way, it's like, hey, you didn't see that coming. I've taken away your fun. Brilliant. So that is why I like this ability. Yeah, it's not amazing, but it's definitely quite a fun one when you get it off on a good monster or a hero or something. So going on to his next ability, which of course is the Deep Wood Shield. So you can reroll any failed save rolls for a Nomad Prince. This guy just got even better for 80 points. I mean, reroll all failed saves, you expect to be like reroll failed save rolls or 1 or something, but I mean when I was running this guy, because just say like I have played with the Wanderers a bit in the past, and I have played against them a bit in the past. But when I played with this guy, just fantastic. Like, this is what I mean, he can handle himself in combat. He's doing a bit of the damage to the enemy all the time, where with 2 damage weapons, like, oh, do I focus attacks on him? It's not really worth it. I need to focus on the other things. However, if you just throw a couple of attacks at him, he's just going to reroll with save rolls and probably not take much damage. So he definitely lasts in the fight for a while. The enemy's not focusing on him, and if the enemy are focusing on him, they're probably doing you a favour, not focusing on your bigger, nastier units. So, and then all that's left for him is his command ability, so Lord of the Deepwood Host. So if a Nomad Prince uses this ability, then until your next hero phase, you can re-roll all hit rolls of 1 for Wanderers units from your army that are within 8 inches of him when they attack. Okay, so first thing to mention is that wholly within 8 inches. This war scroll was written a little while before they started doing all the wholly within, so when these guys get an update, bear that in mind. But at the moment, within 8 inches doesn't sound like a lot, but obviously you can tag a lot of units because you just need 1 model from that unit to be in range to benefit from the command ability. And yeah, that makes a big difference. It might sound like only rerolls 1, but if you've got like a block of 30 archers here, rerolling all 1s to hit, it makes a huge difference. Definitely from my experience, especially you can tag quite a few of your units to benefit from this. And then going on to his keywords, so we've got Order, Aelf, a Wanderer, Hero, and Nomad Prince. And yeah, so I think this guy is definitely worth 80 points, in my honest opinion. He's actually a pretty fun guy to play around with, because like I say, the enemy doesn't really expect much from him, and he can, if he's lucky, he can do quite a bit. And even if he's not lucky, he can be quite consistent. Okay, and then going on to our last one, which is also our most expensive hero, and this is going to be the Waywatcher for 120 points. So, if he or she is the most expensive hero, let's see what she actually does. Right, so the description. A Waywatcher is a single model, such as his skill, with the Waystalker bow, that he can fire either far shots or precise shots to deadly effect. He also carries a Waystalker blade with which to finish off his prey. Okay, so when I said he or she, it turns out as a he apparently. So we've got his wheel set, so it's got a 6-inch movement, a 4+ save, 8 bravery, and 5 wounds. So the same as what we saw for the other heroes. However, something important to note for this guy, and also for the other heroes, I mentioned briefly, the 4+ save. This guy's an archer, he's got a 4+ save. Have you seen his armour? It's non-existent apart from the bits of bamboo he's got on him. The other guys, yeah, they might have like a bit more like leather armor or something going on, but still they're getting a 4+ save. You compare it to a lot of the Wanderer units and they haven't got a good save. They've got a 5+ save or a 6+ save, and you think, oh, that's not very good, is it? But you think like, oh, they're the Wood Elves and stuff, they ain't got much armor, so fair enough. However, these heroes don't abide by that rule, apart from the Spellweaver. These guys are rocking 4+ saves, which is really good, and definitely should not be, underappreciated. Okay, and then going into his weapons, so he's got 2, so he's got the Waystalker bow, and for his missile weapon, and for his melee weapon, he has got the Waystalker blade. So starting with the missile weapon, the Waystalker bow, so we have got the 22-inch range, 3 attacks, 3 to hit, 3 to win, minus from random 1 damage. That's an alright basic attack, but we'll get to why that is good later in its abilities. And then going into the melee weapon, we've got the Waystalker blade, which is a 1-inch range, 2 attacks, 3 to hit, 4 to win, no rend, and 1 damage. Not a great attack, but he can do a little bit of damage in combat. If you get charged by like 1 wound models for like 5 or 6 up saves, he might kill like 1 or 2 maybe. Which is, yeah, it's not great, but it's something, isn't it? It's not like just a 5 and a 5, melee weapon. It's okay. Right, okay, and then going into its abilities, so he's got quite a few. So he's got the Invisible Hunter, so your opponent subtract 1 from hit rolls that target a model with this ability in the shooting phase. Okay, so the reason why this is important is because look at Sir rule as well that applies. You make sure this guy's within 3 inches of a unit that's 3 or more models, then that'll make the enemy other -1 to hit when they try and shoot him in the shooting phase, and then that makes this guy -2 to hit and a 4+ save. Really good. Really, really, really good, especially how this guy... It's not, the enemy's probably going to try and focus on destroying your units, as that's the most you know, big point investment things in your army. So they're not really going to focus too much on killing this guy, especially if they're going to be -2 to hit from shooting him. So they'll probably leave him. This guy can do a lot of damage if he's left alone, trust me. So then going into the next ability, which is why he's cool, is the Hawkeye Archer. So when a Way Watcher shoots his Waystalker bow, he can choose to make either fast shots or precise shots. He cannot make fast shots and precise shots in the same shooting phase. Okay, and then the fast shots, so a Way Watcher firing fast shot makes 3 extra attacks with his Waystalker bow. In addition, each time you roll a hit roll of a 6 or more for this model when making a fast shot, it can make 1 additional attack with its bow. So that is good. You know, you make a 3 extra make 6 attacks here. You've got a 3 to hit, 3 to wound, -1 and 1 damage for your stats. And then bear in mind, if you get a 6 or more to hits, you're going to generate an extra attack. And this is going to be one that obviously you think, oh, if I shoot heroes, then obviously you're -1 to hit, so you're not going to do that. This is not made for heroes, this one. This is made for you for killing enemy units and hordes particularly. This is what this is designed for. Not enemy heroes, so you shouldn't really be -6 to hit. Okay, and then going on to the next one, precise shots. So a Way Watcher firing precise shots inflicts a double damage with its Waystalker bow. In addition, each time you roll a wound roll of 6 or more for this model when making precise shots, that shot is resolved with a range characteristic of -2 instead of -1. Okay, so now you've got 3 attacks, hitting on 3s, or wounding on 3s, -1 rend, 2 damage. If you get a 6 to wound, that does -2 rend. This is designed against heroes, and several reasons for this. Because this is made for high damaging, attacks that are meant to punch through things that have got quite a few multiple wounds. Also, the whole sort of like on a 6 to wound business, makes it a -2 rend. That's good for punching through Stormcast armor, and heroes generally have better armor, don't they, than units. So that's another reason. And also, that's on a 6 to wound, not a 6 to hit. The 6 to hit would be a bit negated by the whole the Lookout Sir ability. But 6 to wound is not affected by that, so that's why that is good against heroes. So this guy can basically be a minigun, or he can be a really precise sniper, which is why I really like his versatility. And then the next one is Solitary Marksman. So add 1 to hit rolls and made for Way Watcher shooting attacks if he did not move in the preceding movement phase. So again, if you for the fast shots, if you get a 6 or more to hit, for that it generates an extra attack. This guy gives you add 1 to hit rolls, makes it on a 5 or more against those horde units you'll be attacking. Right, and then onto his command ability. So, see but not be seen. So if a Way Watcher uses this ability, then until your next hero phase, wanderers from your army that are within 18 inches of him gain the Invisible Hunter ability. And it says see left, so I'll read through it again because this is his own ability. So Invisible Hunter, your opponent must subtract 1 from hit rolls that target a model with the ability in the shooting phase. So now, how I understand this is when it says, wanderers from your army that are within 8 inches, this is wanderer models, not units. And this is because if you refer to the Invisible Hunter one, it says that target a model with this ability, not target a unit with this ability. So that means that if, I don't know, as an example, you've got a unit of 30 Glade Guard that is within 18 inches of this command ability, but only half that unit's within 18 inches. And then when you go the enemy's shooting phase, and they're going to target that unit of 30 Glade Guard that only half them in range to benefit this ability, it's almost like when your opponent shoots that unit, you're going to say to them, right, okay, the ones you're targeting are the ones that were within this bubble, so your shots are going to be -1 to hit. And then when the attacks go through and you lose models, it's going to be ones that are going to have to be within 18 inches of the Way Watcher, have to die those models there. The only thing I don't really understand is, let's say the enemy's chucking 120 attacks at you, and you've got, half the unit, so 15 Glade Guard within 18 inches of this guy to benefit from the -1 to hit ability. Are you really going to say, oh well, 120 attacks, they're all going to be -1 to hit because they're not going to manage to kill more than 15 Glade Guard? Or do you say like 15 of those attacks are -1 to hit? I don't really know how you work it out. If you could please let me know down in the comments, because I didn't really come across too many problems with this, because I took the Nomad Prince command ability a lot of time, because when I played the first edition, when you command points kind of thing. You can do multiple abilities, so I didn't really use this much, so it didn't really come into effect. But if you could please let me know down below how this works, because it would be great. I think there's also a bit of confusion out there, as I'm sure if you are a dedicated Wanderers army guy, or you love Wood Elves basically, you will know how this ability works. However, especially for people who don't play the army and don't really see the army, when they do go up against it, they're like, oh, I don't really understand that. How do you read that? Because I don't. I interpret it like that, and you interpret it like this. We have a disagreement here, basically, and it's just to avoid all that. If you please know the answer to how this command ability works, let me know down in the comments. That would be great to hear. Right, okay. So, but anyway, that command ability, depending on how it works, is a good command ability. Make it like a decent size of your army. Minus one to hit from shooting. And a lot of people say, oh, shooting's not very good these days, and all that sort of thing. So look at shooting is still good these days, believe me. And a lot of people say that it's not, but I mean, I say a lot of people say it's not. I think most people can think of an example in 2nd edition where shooting has really, really hurt them. So, and I'm not saying that in an overpowered way or at all. Shooting is not like that anymore. It used to be in 1st edition. I'll definitely say shooting was overpowered, but now I think it's balancing its way out. But anyway, shooting definitely still has a place, so you've got to protect yourself from it to be sure. Right, okay, then going into the keywords, we've got Order, Aelf, Wanderer, Hero, and Waywatcher. Okay, so that is the last hero for the Waywatcher. And what I want to say in summary here, guys, for the Wanderers is, yes, they are not the strongest army out there. Yes, there are much more competitive options. Yes, if you take them to a tournament, you're probably going to lose most of your games. Yes, they can't win against certain matchups and all these sorts of negative things about the army. But what I want to say is the army has from my point of view, a lovely model range. I really love the Wood Elf aesthetic. It's absolutely great. I love, like I say, well, I say like I hate like certain shooting and all that sort of thing. So I was used to death, before we got our Legions and Gash Battle Tome stuff, and basically always getting shot off the board. However, there is something really, really nice about the gameplay style of the Wanderers. Yes, it might not be the most competitive, but it's a lot of fun. I certainly felt that when I played the army. And what I want to say is, going back to what we were saying, oh, not very competitive and stuff. The heroes of the Wanderers, like for an army that's quite small, they've got a lot of heroes, and yet they don't all fit their way into an army list probably, because some of them are, worth taking more than others. But it's very unusual to see such a small army like this, but with so many command abilities at your disposal. I mean, yes, some of the command abilities are very similar to each other and so on, but it definitely gives you quite a few options there, especially how you have to take a few of these heroes in your army anyway, and particularly as your general, to make certain units in your army battle line. It's going to force you to maybe think, oh, I'm going to try this ability out. And some of them are really, really good. What I'd say is my standard sort of fallback ones is the Nomad Prince's command ability and the Waywatcher's command ability. I think they are like the two solid, good, strong options as your sort of reliable, consistent ones. But the other ones could be pretty good. They could be better. Please let me down below your sort of experiences with them. And yes, guys, that's been my review of the Wanderers. Like I say, not the most competitive army, but this has been like a lot of the armies I've been reviewing lately. However, a lot of fun, not bad. And I think what has been proven at quite a few tournaments, all these sorts of things, is that if you really, really dedicate yourself to an army, you can really achieve the best you can do. Yes, it does depend on how good the army is, but a lot of it is on the player. And that's not just saying, oh, some people are just really good at playing, some people aren't. It's literally just dedication and just keep and at it. I mean, there was, is it CanCon in Australia, where Swiftlock Agents did really, really well. And I'm not saying they're on the same level as Wanderers, to be honest. I haven't reviewed them. I'm not too sure. But they, from an outsider's point of view, I think they are like around that. Like they're an old elf army that's been shattered, aren't they? So, and that guy, I think he won like 3 games or something along those lines. You guys might know more than me. But that just shows like how much dedication this guy put into it. It's like Swiftlock Agents. I think they were on the were they on the Honest Wargamer stream? And it just shows just how good they can be. Like one guy just fucking dedicating himself to a certain army and just putting so much effort into it. Like what a good lad, what a good effort. Yes, so it just shows, guys, if you love your Wanderers, don't stop playing them. They will get a battle tome at some point. Believe me, even if they're included in another, like mixed grand battle tome, if you like. And that brings me on to the next point about the Wanderers, is that I saw someone put a comment on the video. Let me just have a look to see who did it. Right, this is from Rich McGee, and he says, so given the recent trend with Gloomspite, Gitz and Skaven getting separated from factions recombined under one banner, what do you think the odds are of the new army book that mashes up the Wanderers and the Sylvaneth? So thanks for your question, Rich. And what I would say is, I think that's a lovely dream, isn't it? However, I don't think that's going to happen. They've put quite distinct things in their lore saying basically the Wanderers massively betrayed Illyriel and the Sylvaneth and burn all their bridges at it, and the Sylvaneth do not like fire. So I don't think they're like going to be buddies again for a long time. I think something we're a lot more likely to see is a battle tome that is the elves or something, and it's basically Games Workshop going, shit, stick the elves back together sort of situation, and you're going to get a real mixture of different, you know, like elven armies. I mean, I think it will mean that the elves work a lot more consistently together if you want to make like a mixed army of them. And then I also feel like there will be, you know how Legions of Nagash, you have different legions in the Fleshly Court book coming out, you have different courts in the Skaven book coming out, you have different clans, all these sorts of things. I think the things for the elves, what they will get is the elves that come from different realms. I think like Darkling Covens as an example will be the elves from the realm of Shadow. You will have, you know, the Wanderers, which are the elves from the realm of Life. You will have the Eldritch as the like elves from the realm of Light, and things like that. Really, I think that's the direction we will see them go. This is no guarantee. Sure, you guys know that I'm literally just speculating here. I think that's the direction we're more likely to see than the Wanderers and the Sylvaneth join up. In all honesty, I would much prefer the Wanderers and Sylvaneth join up. I think that would be awesome. However, I don't think Games Workshop are going to go back on it, unfortunately. But hopefully a joint united A-Elf battle tome is something we can look forward to this year. Is it going to happen? Absolutely no idea. Would it work and would it feel right? You know, the Dark Elves being in the same army as High Elves, and I know they're not called that anymore, but you know, you guys understand what I'm referring to when I say that. However, I think it could give you quite a few options. There's loads of these separate armies, like you know, Beasts of Chaos was a perfect example. You know, you had the War Herds and you had the Bray Herds, which were the Beastmen, and then someone got an axe and sort of cut it in half a little bit, and you had the Bray Herds being all the infantry from the Beastmen in one army, and the War Herd being all the monstrous units in the other army, and they were separated. And the reason why that really did not work is because the Bray Herds had all the numbers, all the infantry. They had that side of the, you know, the game, the competitiveness. They had that sorted. However, they didn't really have any sledgehammer units. They didn't have any monstrous infantry. They didn't have any monsters to do the damage. Yes, they had Bestigors, but, you know, let's be honest, Bestigors, back then anyway, not really much. I mean, yeah, they do damage, but compared to some other things armies can chuck out, not much. However, Warherds on the other side, they had Minotaurs, really, really tough unit. They had, you know, like their two monsters as well. You've got the Sigmar, you've got the... oh, I cannot remember the name of it, but the big giant Minotaur with 4 arms. Is it the Gorgon? I think it is. And then you had that. So the problems with the Warherd is that they were just too monstrous. They just didn't have the numbers on the board. And this is back in the day when they couldn't ally any models in. They were just like, if you want an army with your battle line are, you know, Minotaurs, crack on, or Bulgars, I think they're called. You know, this is the army for you. However, if you want any actual decent numbers in your army, yeah, you're not going to get that. So, what they've done with Beasts of Chaos, obviously they united them together. They put Monsters of Chaos in there because it's just like, what the hell is that army doing on its own? It's not even an army, it's just a collection of all the monsters, which is cool, but you know, seriously, not a good idea. So it's good they regrouped everything together, and that might be something we see with the AOV battle tome that might come out. They might go, right, this army's good at this, but terrible at the other 90% of things that go on in Age of Sigmar. This army's good at another 10%, but terrible at the rest, you know, the 90%. And they might go, if these guys work together, now they're, you know, good at 20% of the stuff, rather than, you know, being, you know, good at only 10. And then if you add them all together, then you maybe get to an army that's can play your part in every round in the game. So I hope that sort of makes sense, guys, and sort of gives you my thoughts and answered your question, Rich. And yes, guys, so that's what I'm going to leave there for the Wanderers. It's been a pleasure going through the Wanderers, actually, because they've got a really, really nice theme to the army. Really, really nice. You can have a lot of fun with, I was thinking, a fantastic, customization for the army and artwork and just models, really, and just colour schemes in general. They're a really, really beautiful army to look at, and especially how, like, I'm a member on the Wanderers Facebook page, and it's always nice to see the posts and stuff going there. Absolutely fantastic. So yes, like I say, guys, I've enjoyed making this series of the Wanderers. I hope you guys enjoyed it too. Please let me know all your thoughts. If you play the army, if you don't play it, if you like to play it, reasons why you do play it or you don't play it, and things you generally enjoy. Please let me know down in the comments below, and that would be great to hear. So, guys, the last thing I'm also going to say, as we're getting quite close to it, is that there is the giveaway I'm announcing on the 15th of February. So, like 2 days from now, you've still got a chance to enter. So what you want to do, if you're watching this on your PC, go to my homepage on YouTube, just Agent Nagash, and you'll see that I have basically put a video right on the front of the page, which is called Believe, subscribe and giveaway and enter here. And essentially what you're going to do, you've got to subscribe to my channel, and you've got to put a comment on the video telling me what's your favourite army and why do you play it. So do that, guys, if you haven't entered already. Like I say, all you have to do is just click the subscribe button. If you enjoy the videos anyway, basically it's just going to give you like notifications and all that sort of thing when I put on more. Hopefully I'm going to come across your army soon as I forever go through this army archive. I've had quite a few suggestions lately, so I'll definitely look into them and see when I can get those scheduled in. So anyway, guys, I thank you very much for watching this. If you have enjoyed it, please like, subscribe and comment down below, as that does help me massively, and I really do appreciate it. So guys, I thank you very much for watching this video, and until next time, remember, Nagash is all, and all is one in Nagash.